Anita and I first met when we were in the presidential trio of Division 55 back in 2003. Dr. Brown was the third president of the division, and I was the fourth president. And then we created a really tight bond. Remember that, Anita, during that year? And that bond has continued ever since. So I'm just so grateful for that. So Dr. Brown is best known as one of our nation's first military prescribing psychologists. While serving as a major in the U.S. Army Medical Service, she trained to become a prescriber in the second cohort of military psychologists in the mid-1990s. During this time, she also directed the administrative, clinical, and consultative functions to provide mental health care for over 14,000 soldiers. For her service, she received the Meritorious Service Medal from the United States Army. Dr. Brown is a past president of the Pennsylvania Psychological Association, and then with the Georgia Psychological Association, Anita has served as chair of the Legal and Legislative Affairs Committee and is the current director for professional affairs. Anita, I am so glad that you are with us tonight, and I'm presenting you to our group. Thank you so much, Dr. Anita Brown.
I am happy to be here. Pat DeLeon and I have this thing of setting themes according to song. So I'm going to give you 3 songs that perhaps capture my experience, which Beth has asked me to relate. The first song is You're the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me, Gladys Knight. I will say that this has been one of the stellar moments or experiences of my life. In probably 1991, when I was president or president-elect of the Pennsylvania Psychological Association, I remember sitting in a meeting where we discussed Senator Inouye's proposal to allow psychologists to prescribe medication. And so I said, sure, why not? I mean, what harm could that do? And that's a stellar moment. I went on to be a staff member at the APA, American Psychological Association, and part of my management portfolio was to mentor the then 4 or 5 Army, Air Force, and Navy fellows who were in psychopharm as they were going through a rather rigorous curriculum at the Uniformed Services of the Health Sciences University. And so I heard about it. And then the following fall, I heard that Deborah Donovan the Army in reality couldn't find any active duty Army psychologists who would dare to volunteer for this program. So Deborah Donovan and I entered the military to partake of this training. Now, my dad was a 30-year Air Force career veteran. And of course, he asked me, why did I join the Army to do this? And I told him that they made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. And the rest is really history. The training was rigorous, but refreshing. I was in training for 2 years at Walter Reed Army Medical Center, both inpatient, outpatient, and in the classroom with first and second year medical students. I say refreshing because after years of working in the field, it was really kind of refreshing to be able to sit in a classroom and receive information as opposed to either giving it or shaping it or in other ways participating. I went on to prescribe, as Beth has described, at Fort Hood, the largest military installation in the free world with the 4th Infantry Division. And it was an experience on several levels. It was an experience being an active duty member. It was an experience being in the military at a ripe older age, older than most of my counterparts. It was an experience being the administrator of a division level mental health unit, and later the chief of mental health when that position became vacant. And when I left the Army in 1999, I decided to do that because I was a single parent and I could not afford to deploy or go elsewhere with a young daughter who was entering adolescence.